Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining. My name is Jackson Alatesh, and today we're going to be taking a look at Planet Coaster, the latest in a long line of games that deal with amusement parks and the management of the same. Right now the game is in beta. It's set to release here in the near future, so what you see in this video is unlikely to change between now and actual release, but it could. And because this is a high-level overview, let's just jump to the good stuff. So I don't want to end up making too long of a video. So suffice to say, there are different game modes. You can jump in and basically assist a park in a particular situation, which is where this map that we're loading up here came from. You also have the ability to jump into a sandbox and do whatever it is that you'd like to do. And then last but not least, you also have the ability to start out with something where everything is gated by research. So before we start digging into the nitty-gritty of the rides themselves, let's go ahead and take a look at the Park Management tab just to get an idea of some of the things that are available in this game from a management perspective or from the minutia. Because we all know the rides are awesome, and if all goes well, you will spend an inordinate amount of time looking at these rides and just having a grand old time with it. So look at the park status menu. You could take a look at the guests by demographic, the staff that you've got, the rides and attractions that you have. We have 5 flat rides, 3 coasters in the park here, 16 shops and facilities. You can take a look at graphs of them as well as some written statistics. Finances, more or less the same story over here on the left side. The one notable item being ticket prices, which also lets you set your opening and closing times. If you don't like the fact that it may jump from a point of the evening suddenly to a point of the morning, which is going to be kind of sudden, you can have your park open 24/7, which would obviously in many respects be the best way to make profit. However, time and more playing on my part will tell if that's actually the case or whether or not there are better or worse business hours out there. We'll see if they model that portion of humanity. The other thing that's important here is you can see that the sales last month were $0. The reason being is because this park is set up on a pay-per-ride situation, where there is no fee to enter the park. However, you pay for everything except for the ATMs and the bathrooms. And that is by design, and yes, if you so choose, you can make people pay for the ATMs. You can make them pay for the bathrooms as well. Moving along, we also have research. Research lets you open up new things. In the case of this particular map, these are the things that I researched whilst building the map, so you can get an idea of how much stuff costs. Generally, it's not terribly expensive, and it gets you things that make you a lot of money. Marketing is what you'd expect. You can run marketing campaigns to attract any of those 3 different demographics, or you can go on a divisive campaign, which attracts one while disparaging the likely ability that the others are going to attend. Like this guy here, more families will show up, but fewer teenagers, or fewer sets of the teenage demographic will show up. No park is complete without staff. As such, you have janitors who hopefully keeps your park spotless, and then the mechanics that fix stuff, and then you have a series of entertainers. There are more entertainers than just what's available here. However, this is all that's available in this scenario. So then you can take a look at them from the terms of happiness and all. You can focus on them, etc. You can also, when you focus on them, you can adjust their wages. You can set their salary. You can assign them to a work roster, which is basically an area that you want them to stay around in the park. And then you can train them so that they're more productive, they're happier, but they expect some more money, which is reasonable. And you can perform these same actions for all of your different demographics of individuals that you have in the park, and then the work rosters like I mentioned. Moving along, you can actually take a look at a breakdown of guests based on what exactly they have spent inside your park. Now, one item to note when you're loading a save game, this does in fact have itself an issue where it does not show correctly until the first full month has passed. 1 month in this game is 1 day cycle. So tomorrow by 9 a.m. game time, give or take, we will have a very good idea of how much folks are spending. And then finally, you take a look at the attractions and shops and get a breakdown of how much these things are making you per month. So you can basically see, what's in, what's not, etc. You can do the same with the shops and find out, well, this one only had 8 customers last month and it cost me $160 to keep it open. So I can go ahead and focus on it if I want to and be like, okay, well, your time has come, and just simply delete it. You can also Control Z stuff back. And speaking of which, you can also do this with rides. So with this ride right here, this ride does appear to be stuck. The queue is backing up, etc., etc. And our handyman here is apparently inspecting the high seas. So we'll go over here and take a look at the items for the rides. So as far as the rides are concerned, you can take a look at their queue time, other various data about them, and then the important thing, which is the scenery rating of the queue. The more attractive a ride, the more people will be like, hey, I might give some dollars for that, or that looks cool. You can also take a look at the ratings that your ride got when you ran it at a test. So important note is with all tracked rides, so with all your coasters, they will need to be tested before you can actually fire them up and start using them. Finances, you can take a look at the ticket price, which in the case of this park, you pay for the rides, not the admission. And you can also take a look at the basically the entire list of how much it's made you. Just some nice demographics. You can customize, you can add music to it to make it more exciting, up the exciting factor, change the colors around. You can also change the track colors around, so there's really a lot you can do there. With operations, you can change on the coasters the number of cars per train, the number of trains that you have, set up rules for departure of any of the rides that are in the game. And then on the maintenance side, you can see that it's overdue for an inspection, which is probably why Handy Hijinks over here keeps picking up a drop in his box full of inspecty things. You can also take a look at the reliability of the rides, when they last broke down, how long ago they were refurbished. They do accumulate wear and tear with time. The more wear and tear, the faster they break down. Finally, you can set things up as far as the triggers on the track are concerned, so that you can set these triggers up to do various things around the track, such as release other cars, or they're just simply set up for the blocking items. You can also tie in other things like cannon or what have you to them to make the ride more exciting as folks go by. So because this thing is stuck, this is the beta, so that does in fact happen. So we'll just simply get in, we'll delete the ride, wait for all those poor people that waited in line forever and paid me lots of money to poof over there, and then we'll just Control-Z it back into existence. At which point, the next step is to get the ride under test. When the test completes, we'll just reopen it, and folks will just queue right on back up for it. So either that or he's finally going to make his inspection. Yep, looks like he's making his inspection while the test is ongoing. So, or maybe it'll wait. Any which way, it looks like this one's also jammed up. So, same medicine here, delete it, wait for everybody to pop onto the exit ramp, and then bring it back into existence, go over here and start the test cycle. So, this one over here, this huge thing that I built, my very first coaster, appears to be off to the races without much of an issue. In theory, there should be another car hanging out there, but it looks like that may have gotten a little... Oh, nope, there he is, right down here. It's fun, friendly people coming in. All right, so continuing to look at the items that you can gather data point-wise, you also have all these little people that are hard to click on when you're zoomed out that are wandering around your park. And they all have particular needs, and the idea is to sate those needs while prizing loose their hard-earned cash. So you can see that they have energy need. The energy need is replenished by sitting up on a bench for a little while, and their energy bar will tick up over time. It remains to be seen if whether or not their energy going up directly disparages other needs. However, I feel that it's entirely possible that that is the case. So we've got something back on the testing here. So it looks like it tested well. So we'll go ahead and we'll stop the test, and we'll just go ahead and open the ride back up. Let's go down to the high seas and see how it's doing. All right, so its test is done as well. If you don't want to go through like stopping the test and then opening the ride, you can just click it open. It'll work the rest of it out for you. And then once it's open, you will see people decide that they're going to start going in there. You can speed up time. Makes everything sound really creepy if you have music on your rides. But after something like that, it lets you kind of get an idea as to who's going where. So the Madness over here is queuing up nicely. We'll set it back to normal time. So as far as the rides in the game are concerned, there are a ton of rides in the game. In scenarios such as this one, they're gated behind research. Either that or some other were completely disabled, just to, I don't know, perhaps drive home the emphasis on the whole point. The other thing with scenarios that you've got is you have differing scenarios. In this case, this is the introduction scenario to the game. So it's fairly simple. You already have a park that generally works. You just have to make it bigger and make it work much better, as we can see here. So you get easy, medium, and hard, and those stars are used for unlocking more advanced challenges that are out there. We'll take a look at that one in just a second. So with this park, when the park initially showed up, pretty much all the section out in here, including the huge roller coaster, were not there. So it was a nice grassy area. So I figured that instead of, with my first attempt at the game, trying to build more and higher and deeper and harder up in this area, which probably would have been more intelligent, I would take advantage of the open space here to just kind of have something spacious and stuck out. Realistically, this would make sense because the gate for the park is located over here. So when people enter, generally they're mediocre, humdrum, and happiness, and they have some other needs that may be dipping down. When they go home, well, hey, it was an amazing day. Good stuff. It's one other data point, and probably the one that you'll use the most while playing this game is what do people think? What are the things that they like and they enjoy? Because, if they're not happy or what have you, then they're obviously going to have a hard time giving you some money. Now, as far as money is concerned, this was some pre-built stuff over in here that I would suppose works out nicely. So let's see here. Yeah, tunnel comes, winds its way around. I really could have taken better advantage of it and started to place rides and stuff here and earlier, but instead I make everybody walk their way all the way down to hit the central promenade of the park, which kind of got a little severed, but we'll talk about traffic management in a further video as things progress along. Now, the types of rides you have flat rides, which are fairly self-explanatory. And the other thing about them is they're also fairly reliable. Even an average reliability ride, it takes a very, very long time for the wear and tear to go down to the point at which it's breaking down all the time. In the case of this one, it breaks down 2 months ago was when it was refurbished. Last time it broke down was March 6th of year 6. Right now we're in July. So April, May, June, July. It's been a while since it's actually broken down. So some other rides are higher or lower. This guy is average. He's overdue for his inspection. I'm not sure how inspection helps out as far as the the breakdown is concerned. If I had to guess, though, I would guess that if it's inspected regularly, it gets less wear and tear. Looking at lower impact rides on the same front, you see this guy's been around. Let's see here. When was he first fired up? Well, 2 months since last refurbishment. And we see the wear and tear bar really hasn't moved. It's a high reliability ride. So it's worth looking at it and looking at the long-term sustainment of a park because you want to know, where are my problems going to be? Do I need one mechanic to cover, something like, say, this guy who has low reliability? His wear and tear is dropping like a rock. He was also refurbished 2 months ago, but we have a nice little ding in there. Also, refurbishment is fairly expensive and takes the ride out of service. Now, looking at those other need bars, like, say, the food and drink, there are stalls that you can put around. So everything in here is pre-made, which works out, as far as the first game is concerned. So we've got Chief Beef over here, and the cannon is blasting, and the pirate signs are out there, and now I want a burger. And then over here we have the Cosmic Cow, which these guys tend to be very, very popular as people get thirsty more than they end up finding themselves in need of a good old Chief Beef burger. And then the final facility that you have are restrooms. These are rather important. One interesting note is you can charge for them if you want to. I opt not to because I think that's just kind of inhuman. But honestly, if I showed up at a park and they're like, yeah, entrance is free and we charge you all this money, like, okay, I want to go on The Madness. The Madness is $19 a seat. So, it's $19 for really not a whole lot of time spent on there. So 61.2 seconds is not worth my $19. As you can see from the line, though, there are a lot of people that disagree. So kind of, suspend your belief as to what value is, unless, of course, I'm just out of touch because I haven't been to an amusement park in quite a while, and they are that expensive when it's kind of the pay-for-ride thing. So yeah, back to the whole bathroom idea. If I went to a park and they'd charge me that much for rides and I jumped on them and had a great time and then they charged me to use the bathroom, it'd be kind of like, really? That's kind of an inhuman way to go with things. But anyhow, I digress. As far as the shops and such are concerned, you can also gain really a rather nice amount of detail on them too. So you can take a look at the items for sale and you can adjust the items for sale. Also, if you have one that's just not selling well or you want to draw more people over into an area, I could say, well, cool. In the case of this one, you buy yourself a vanilla Cosmic Shake. I'm going to throw in a lot of marshmallows on top of that thing and a little extra ice cream. However, if you buy chocolate, we're going to give you not just some fudge pieces, but a lot of fudge pieces, and it's going to be a really nice rich shake. So that should drive more individuals there. Now, the way that you can see this is you can take a look at the number of missed sales. Missed sales can be for any reason in economics. We'll end up discussing that at some point rather in depth, just because economics and, the flow of people in business are three of my favorite things outside of sitting around playing computer games and making videos for YouTube regarding them. Anyhow, I would say in summary, this game is just, so far, it is fantastic fun. It is a great time, and I would highly recommend considering purchasing it. Obviously, the disclaimer applies with pre-purchasing games. If you really care about your money, don't throw it out for a game that's not there. If you're one of the unfortunate folks that managed to purchase No Man's Sky, you know exactly what I'm talking about and have a first-hand experience of what happens when it doesn't all go according to plan. Now, on the other side of that, you might say, but wait, Jack, there's a beta, you're playing it, and so far it looks awesome. The graphics are good and gameplay and, everything else, and a ham sandwich on top of it. Well, hey, if you're not all that attached to your $40, you think it'll go well, it's your money to spend, your money to lose. So, yeah, I mean, obviously looking around is not a bad thing. At some point, we'll probably get into some further discussion on that topic, but anyhow, for now, go ahead and point out probably one of the coolest features of the game by far. So if you want to jump on a ride, you can jump on a ride and get an idea of what your ride exactly looks like and it sounds like, where it goes, what it does for fun. You can see arms waving around, and if you want to see if what you think based on your camera concurs with the folks in the seats, you can look at them and see if they're excited, see if if they're going to barf, if they're just holding on for dear life because you're pulling some G's around that sweet turn. So it kind of I don't know, increases the engagement towards it, as well as lets you get an idea of exactly what you made as far as a roller coaster is concerned. Like in the case of this one, it's the very first one that I made. There are no lights in the tunnel, but all in all, it is a great amount of fun. And then it all comes to an end, and hopefully people want to ride it again. So, and that doesn't only extend to the roller coasters. If you have something else that you would like to take a ride on, so let's see what we got here. Alright, so this guy is going to be a little bit before he's full up. This one people just need to run out, so let's go ahead and let's jump on this bad boy. So you can get a nice orbital cam. The cinematic cameras are really not bad at all for seeing the scenery and seeing the sights. In some cases, they can even provide you with a viewpoint that you might not have otherwise. Alright, so we're off to the races. And looking from one of the seats, you can see that it's been picked up off the ground. And where do we go from here? Yeah, and finally the sound design in this game is just amazing in terms of how the rides sound. They sound like what you would expect, and if you've ever ridden one of them, they sound exactly like what they are. If you want to see if the person that you have selected is enjoying it, you can. That chick looks terrified. So, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I think too much of it could be a bad thing. So he looks a little terrified too. She looks a little terrified. He doesn't know if he's terrified or having the time of his life. Oh yeah, I gotta love it. You can just have a look all around the place and see if people are enjoying it. Now, realistically, with rides of this nature, I think that most folks are going to enjoy them. The flat rides are not going to have too much variability, if for no other reason than from a perspective of game design. Anyhow, that's my 2 cents on the whole thing. I hope that this overlook to it has been at least somewhat informative and showed you some bits and pieces of the game. In looking around before jumping into the beta myself, I didn't find much out there in the way of people describing the actual management features that you have. That could have changed in the last day or so, but some part of me doubts it. So that's a look at stuff. In the future, from me as a content creator, you can expect more videos diving into those and taking a look at exactly how they work and how they function and other things as it relates to the economics of it. Anyhow, if you found this video to be helpful or at least mildly entertaining, feel free to click the like button down below. If you're new to the channel, please feel free to hit subscribe. Always like to see new faces around the community. And thank you for watching. I've been Jack Alatesh, and have yourself a great day.